So here we go. Today we're going to look at dividing fractions and mixed numbers. So I know this is familiar to you guys from last year, at least a little bit. We're going to throw negative numbers in there. If I said negative 5/8 divided by 1/4, there's a couple different routes you could go with this. What is one way that you guys are familiar with? Yeah. And yeah, so you guys were saying flip the second number and multiply. In mathematical terms, that's called multiplying by the reciprocal. All right, so we are multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/4, that's 4/1. So then, okay, I have them both in fraction form. They must be in fraction form. And again, just like when I'm multiplying, I could try and simplify ahead of time. Yeah. So 8 and 4. I would be dividing this by 4. That's going to become a 1. 8 divided by 4 is going to become a 2. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Well, if I wasn't sure, 5 divided by 2, 2 is going to go into there 2 times, giving me 4, so there's 1 left over. So this is negative 2 and 1/2. And, you know, I think previously your teacher told you just multiply by the reciprocal or flip the second number and multiply, and you really maybe didn't know why. The reason that you do that is because at times the division isn't going to give you nice numbers. This is a problem, though, where you actually don't even have to do that. You can just divide right from the start. So if I had 5/8 divided by 1/4, what you'd be checking for is, can 1 go into 5 and can 4 go into 8? Negative 5 divided by 1 is negative 5. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Wouldn't you know it? That's the exact same answer we had. There are some problems where you could just divide right across. Okay? And then the second way I want to show you, this is only going to happen sometimes. This multiplying by the reciprocal will work every single time. It's never going to fail you so long as you do it right. But that method will always work. This will work sometimes. You could always use it, but sometimes it's going to be more tricky. The second way to do it, and some people like this way, so that's why I want to show you both ways, and then you can pick which way you like. The second way is to get a common denominator, then divide. And again, they both must be in fraction form. So if I took my original problem of negative 5/8 divided by 1/4, and I got a common denominator, that would be negative 5/8 divided by 2/8. Well, we know this 8 divided by 8 is going to be what? 1. And then negative 5 divided by 2, well, that's going to equal negative 5/2. So negative 5 divided by 2 is negative 5/2, because this says negative 5 divided by 2, which we just worked out was negative 2 and 1/2. We're going to do just a couple problems, and then I'll let you guys pick which way you'd like to use, and that's fine. But I wanted to show you both ways. So let's say I'm going to draw a line down my paper, and one side will be multiply by the reciprocal, and then the other way is a common denominator. Okay, so when we multiply the reciprocal, let's say we had negative 2 1/3 divided by negative 5/6. So again, fraction form first. So that's 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is negative 7/3 divided by negative 5/6, where I want to multiply it by its reciprocal. So that's, again, the flipped version is the reciprocal. And it's a negative number. So then I have, I see this 6 and this 3. 3 goes into both. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 6 twice. Negative 7 times negative 2, what's that going to make? 14. Good job. And then 1 times 5 is going to be 5. 5 goes into 14 2 times with 4 left over. If I did it the other way, I'm just going to start with this step because we already took time to do that. So if I had negative 7/3 divided by 5/6. Well, I could get a common denominator of 6. So that would be negative 14/6, because I multiplied both numbers by 2, divided by, and that one, sorry, that was a negative 5/6. So then again, 6 divided by 6, that's going to make 1. So negative 14 divided by negative 5 would be 14/5, which is exactly what we got here. See, that's the exact same thing. So it's going to equal 2 4/5. You can pick whatever way you like. I'm okay with either way. But I did just want you to know there is another way to do it. And the reason why we multiplied by the reciprocal was because 3 divided by 6, well, that's not going to get me a nice answer. 7 divided by 5 is not going to get me a nice answer. That's why we multiplied, to make the problem be simpler to solve. All right, let's do one more example. Let's try negative 3 2/5. Now let's say negative 3 3/5. Let's do that. And then we'll divide it by 1 2/9. So 5 times 3 is 15. That's 18. Negative 18/5 times, we're going to flip this. Okay, I'm going to do 2 steps in one. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So this would be 11/9. So we're going to multiply it by 9/11. Is there any simplifying we can do? Madeline? No? Right? So we're just going to have to work it out. 5 times 11 is 55. A negative times a positive is a negative. And then 18 times 9. We got 72. 16. And then I got to see how many times 55 can go into 162. Anybody know how many times that's going to go? Yes, sir? Yep. Twice. And it's a negative 2. We got 55 on the bottom. That's going to be 110. So 162 minus 110 is going to be 52. So that's one way you could do this. This one's not super nice to do with the common denominator, but you could do it. And there's going to be a lot of them that will be nice to do with the common denominator. If I wanted to do this one with the common denominator, I have a 5 and a 9. What might we do? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. 45. So I multiply by 9. 18 times 9. 162. And then this is a 45. 11 times 5 is going to be 55. That's a negative number, sorry. And then, again, this part is going to equal 1. So negative 162 divided by 55, well, that's negative 162 over 55. And then we already know that's going to equal that answer. So you can do it either way is fine. But, you know, if one thing you guys could do to kind of show people that you're really smart is if they ever ask you something like, well, what's 7 divided by 9? Oh, that's 7/9. What is, 10 divided by 3? Oh, that's 10/3. It's always right.